There's one feature which I find I really miss if it's not on the spec sheet when checking out wireless headphones. Active Noise Cancellation. I've been disappointed by its omission in the past from stuff that I've looked at. While it's not a feature that's going to take the audio quality to new heights or make something an out and out must buy, the ability to shut off the outside world is one that I miss when I use headphones that don't have it, especially when I'm out and about listening to music or a podcast or something. So when Edifier got in touch and asked me to take a look at their NeoDots, which do have ANC, I jumped at the chance. Let's find out if they're any good. Hi guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Kit Guru. So before we dive in to look at the NeoDots, let's get the pricing on the table. The document I was sent over by Edifier states that they're $129.99, but at the time of recording this video, the NeoDots are 96 quid on Amazon here in the UK. That puts them sitting roughly £80 cheaper than Apple's latest AirPods 4 with ANC, which cost £179. So let's have a look at the NeoDots in a bit more detail and see what you're going to get for your money. As is the usual for Edifier headphones and earbuds and their speakers and all the products that I've looked at in the past, they come packaged pretty well. These come in a two-part box that feels well made and sturdy. Inside that box, you get the NeoDots, of course, inside their charging case, a 30cm USB Type A to C charging cable, two spare sets of ear tips in addition to the pre-installed set, and then a manual, safety leaflets and some forbidden crystals. For anyone planning on eating the little packet of crystals, do not. Design-wise, the NeoDots are on the larger side when compared to some of the other earbuds or IEMs that I've used in the past. Here they are next to the Google Pixel Buds A series, another set of wireless earbuds that I own that are around the same price. And then you've got them next to some wired IEMs, the Moondrop Chews, the original ones, and then the Linsole and Crinical 02s. Admittedly, those IEMs are both wired though, so they don't have to include a battery. They've got that going for them. But with that being said, the NeoDots are still pretty chunky. Edifier sent me out the black model for the review, but they are available in white too, as you can see on their website. This black model are finished in a mostly glossy black plastic with a grey, almost semi-matte section running around the edge of each of the stalks. The outer edge features some subtle branding in the form of the Edifier logo sitting in a shimmery glitter acrylic finished section. It's got a subtle shine to it, and this bit could have so easily looked incredibly tacky, but it just about manages to look alright in my opinion. Matte black to match the case would have looked a lot better though. And speaking of that case, due to the chunky build of the earbuds, the charging case is also pretty bulky. The NeoDots fit inside it pretty snugly and it closes with a satisfying click. The hinge feels pretty well made, but the plastic that it's constructed out of does feel a bit on the cheap side. The case of the Pixel Buds feels much more solid in comparison. The NeoDots feature a hybrid driver design combining a balanced armature driver which handles the high and mid frequencies with a dynamic driver for the low end. The sound quality when listening to music is pretty good. Low end has got a punch to it, and the sound has a decent amount of separation between different instruments. It's easy to pick out like sparkly percussive lines and then full rich bass lines at the same time. They have a very similar sound profile to a lot of the Edifier headphones that I've looked at in the past. I feel they definitely come alive when you listen to electronic music like dance and drum and bass and all forms of electronic music. That sort of music kind of plays into the hands of the more bass heavy tuning. They come with the bass heavy EQ preset active in the app, which I'll talk about later on in the video, but that can lead to the bass being a little bit too much, kind of sounds a little bit cheap. A lot of cheap earphones and earbuds, they'll accentuate the bass to make you think that they sound great, but luckily you can change to the customized EQ setting and then have a play with the frequencies to find something that suits your tastes a bit better. That's a much better way to go in my opinion. The NeoDots don't go amazingly loud. They go loud enough, I guess, but nothing crazy. I'd like to see some more headroom. I've been running them at 100% volume the entire time I've been testing them. I'd like to have run them at probably 70 to 80% and had the option to turn them up even more if I was in a louder environment or something like that. The NeoDots do support a wide variety of high-end audio codecs, LDAC, AAC and SBC, which is great, but none of them are supported on iPhone, which I'm currently using at the moment. That's not Edifier's fault. LDAC is a Sony codec and Apple don't support it on their devices. They instead go with their own ALAC, that's their Apple lossless audio codec, their own codec. It's another case of Apple being Apple, I guess. Use an Android device with them though, and you'll be able to, one, pair them fast using Google's fast pair kind of function feature. It pops up on your phone, similar to pairing AirPods with an iPhone. You get a little pop-up when you open the case and you just tap on connect and it works kind of seamlessly. But then aside from that, you'll also be able to select the codecs that I mentioned a minute ago. You'll be able to select LDAC in the Edifier ConneX app, which I'm going to cover that app, as I said, in more detail later on in the video. Now, no doubt one of the main selling points of the NeoDots, alongside that driver setup, is the active noise cancellation, something which I lent into heavily at the start of the video. Edifier claim that the DSP, or digital sound processor, found in the NeoDots can reduce unwanted outside noise by up to 48 decibels. I personally love this feature on headphones. Using it on a plane to block out the constant whirring noise of the engine, it's a game changer, especially when you're on a long flight. It stopped me from going crazy on my flight to Computex a couple of years ago. It's a 15-hour flight. If I'd have listened to the engine for that long, I would have gone crazy. The NeoDots active noise cancellation works pretty well. There are 6 different modes which can be changed either in the app or using the pinch controls on each earbud. Although weirdly, you can only assign 3 modes to the on-ear controls. You could assign 3 to each one, but that kind of gets a bit confusing. The low, medium and high noise cancellation settings, they don't seem to have much of a difference to me. They all work pretty well. They all block out most of the background noise, or at least they did when I was testing them. Ambient sound mode does the opposite of noise cancellation. It makes it possible to have a conversation with someone or listen to some important information without taking the NeoDots out of your ears. It works well on the most part. The only fault I've been able to pick out with it is that sometimes it'll amplify the noise of the air passing over the microphones across the earbuds if you walk around quite briskly with the setting turned on. I can imagine that getting annoying pretty fast if you use these earbuds and use that mode actively when you're like at the gym or something like that. You'd hear like when you're on the phone and it's windy, you hear that rushing of the air across the mics. Oh, and mentioning the gym, they're IP55 dust and water resistant, meaning they'll take a bit of sweat, no problem. Battery life then. Battery life is a balancing act when companies produce a product like this. Every feature that they add in takes its toll on the battery life. Edifier claim on their website that the NeoDots will last 17 hours on a single charge when playing at 80% volume, with that figure being pushed up to 56 hours when you include the ability to charge them using the case. I was using around 6 to 7% an hour at 100% volume during my testing, and that was with the ambient sound setting turned on, which puts that at around 15-ish hours on average, which is really good. They're going to last a long time. They'll easily last you all day and probably into the next day, depending on how much you use them. I mentioned the included charging cable earlier on in the review when I talked about the box contents. The case has a USB-C port for charging, and topping up the battery in this way will give you 5 hours of use in just 15 minutes of charging. That's really convenient for topping them up fast if you forget before heading out of the door. Surprisingly though, they also support wireless charging too, something which is not seen on too many earbuds at this price.
As a world-leading manufacturer, CyberPower PC UK expertly builds each PC with the largest range of parts available in the UK. We handle all your packages with care and ship them directly to you on next day delivery. Visit cyberpowersystem.co.uk.
In terms of connectivity, they support Bluetooth 5.4 and offer multi-point connectivity with that Bluetooth connection. I've had them connected to my laptop and my phone during testing, and switching from one to the other is as simple as just playing audio on the device you want want to use. If I'm connected to my laptop and my phone starts ringing, it'll automatically switch so I can answer the call. That's both a blessing and a curse. And talking of calls, the NeoDots have 6 built-in beamforming mics, and they use, according to Edifier, AI to reduce unwanted background noise. So boiling that down, they've got noise suppression. The noise suppression works okay. Calls sound pretty good. I've got no complaints about how calls sound when wearing the NeoDots. I don't know at what point AI comes into it. We had noise suppression before AI became the only thing that every tech company in the world cares about. It's getting boring, to be honest, seeing it in every single product description. Check out my AI-powered toaster. Check out my AI-powered toothbrush. Or how about this AI-powered pet cat? It's tuned by an algorithm to be more cat-like. Seriously, when will the obsession with AI in everything end? And finally then, after that little AI rant, another nifty feature is they've got game mode, a connection mode designed to reduce latency, because we all know how absolutely horrendous the latency is on Bluetooth. It's not great at all. I booted up Counter-Strike on my laptop to test it out, and while Bluetooth is still not amazing for gaming, it was okay. There is a noticeable difference in delay with having game mode turned on as opposed to off. Although, as I said, Bluetooth and gaming are still not the ideal setup with any hardware at all, not just these NeoDots. Customizing the NeoDots is done with both the Edifier ConneX App, which is available on both iOS and Android, and by pinching each of the earbuds to change certain functions, as I touched on briefly earlier. The pinch feature is a little awkward to begin with. Having to grab and pinch an earbud instead of just tapping like you can do with some of the competition is a bit strange, and it could be even more awkward if you were wearing them while doing something a bit more active, like being at the gym, for example. Customization within the ConneX app is pretty straightforward. There's a settings menu for assigning controls, changing the press sensitivity for pinching them, and you can turn on and off wearing detection, so they'll stop playing when you take them out and continue playing when you put them back in. That was nice to see. Then there's other settings relating to Bluetooth, changing the codec if you're using an Android device. There's multi-point connectivity, an option to make the NeoDots play a sound if you lose them. There's auto power off functionality, so you can set them to power off and then fall asleep with them in if you really want to. There's quite a lot in there, to be fair. Back on the main screen of the app, you'll find the sort of main settings for controlling the active noise cancellation, customizing the EQ, and then turning the game mode on and off, as well as a display at the top to show you the remaining battery life of the earbuds and the case. Overall, the app, while not amazing, it works okay and it does the job that it needs to do without any bugs or issues that I've encountered anyway. The user interface isn't the greatest I've ever seen, but it's certainly not the worst either. Finally then, let's talk about comfort and actually wearing the NeoDots. Given that they're rather bulky, I had slight concerns about stability when I first unboxed them, but they're surprisingly snug and they fit me well. I did have to change to the large ear tips to get a good seal and ensure that they sat firmly in my ears though. They're quite comfortable too. Once you've had them in for a bit, you won't even notice that they're in your ears. I didn't anyway. And as I mentioned before, using the on-ear controls, that is a bit awkward, but as far as actually wearing them goes, I've had no issues. So all in all then, the NeoDots, they're okay. Sound quality wise, they're good. If you like a more bass heavy EQ, then they'll suit your preferences. And even if you don't, then you can get them to sound a little more flat with a bit of tweaking in the app. Battery life is a really impressive part of this product. Again, my testing was carried out with the volume at 100% and ANC turned on with the ambient sound setting active. They came close to the 17-hour claims that Edifier state on their website. The slightly bulky size is the flip side of that though, I suppose. They had to fit in a decent battery in there, so overall size suffered as a kind of side effect from that. They're not monstrously big, but if you like a small, sleek earbud, then these might not be for you. Overall, they're a decent set of earbuds with ANC and good sound quality at a price that isn't out of this world. That's the pattern I'm used to seeing from Edifier. Good sound quality at a competitive price. The build materials and design have maybe given way to accommodate the pricing here, but still the underlying Edifier design philosophy is here, and that's a good thing. And that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like down below if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with the latest PC gaming news and reviews, and check out the advent calendar thing we've got going on our website where you can enter and win yourself some cool tech. Anyway, guys, I've been Matt. They've been the Edifier NeoDots on the desk behind me. I will speak to you in the next one. Look after yourselves. See you later.